Drew Thomas Hendricks here. I'm the host of the Legends Behind the Craft podcast. On this show, I talk with leaders in the wine and craft beverage industry. Before I get on with the show, brief sponsor message. Today's episode, it's sponsored by Barrels Ahead. Barrels Ahead, we help the wine and craft industry build stronger bonds between their customers and brands through authentic content. Go to barrelsahead.com today to learn more. Today we have Bianca Harmons joining us, our channel director, and we have Rachel Svoboda. Rachel's the founder of Lynxx Spirits, the producer of the first bourbon made entirely by an all-female team. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Hey, y'all. Very happy to be here talking about Lynxx Bourbon. So yes, we are the first bourbon ever made by an all-female team. And I gotta tell you, I've owned a marketing company for many years. And this was before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to own a product. What kind of product do I want to own? And I was on a bike ride with my dad and he was like, well, what do you really like to do? And I'm like, well, I like to exercise and I like to drink. And he's like, well, why don't you make something in that camp? So I had talked to a couple of my girlfriends who had made vodkas, like spot cocktails, skinny girl cocktails, and I thought, all right, like that's working for them. But has anyone made a bourbon for women? And so when I found out that had not been done yet, it was like a blue ocean space. I know the marketing side. How do I architect a team of people that are the best at what they do? So I started shopping around for, female master blenders, female distillers, female bottlers, female tasters, and architected this team that would help bring the vision of Lynxx Bourbon to life, which is, I wanted something that was really smooth. I wanted something that drank more like a rich wine than a traditional bourbon. And I was almost convinced to do like whiskey or scotch. And I was like, no, like that wasn't authentic to me. So I really wanted to go down the bourbon route. And I love how this got started because the first, I felt like really important key for us was finding a master blender that understood the vision. And so I was looking online for master blenders that I could hire. And I found this one lady, and she likes to remain anonymous, but she's like a third generation, master distiller, or excuse me, master blender. And she did not want to work with me. Like I live in California. She lives out in back east, but like out in the middle of nowhere. And I said, I'm going to come out and visit you. And she was like, okay, Hollywood, like not your bourbon, but sure, come visit. So I flew out there. I drove like a couple hours out to her farm. I was like, head to toe, like it was winter. So I had on like a big Burberry coat and like high heel boots. And she is like, all right, this Hollywood thing, you are out of your league. Girl.
You're doubling down on Hollywood.
Yeah. Now, but eventually after spending a time with her and a couple more visits, she was like, okay, I see where you're going with this. You really are passionate about it. You really believe in what you're doing. And I want to work with you. So getting her on board was huge. And then, it was all the things that, a lot of people go through when you decide you want to start a new business, right? And it was like, okay, well, I know how to start a service industry business, but starting a liquor business is totally different. Yeah. What are federal like hoops you have to jump through? What are the state rules you have to jump through? What kind of license you need and the ABC and, all these different things. So I learned a lot.
How'd you go about learning all that? Because like you've been part of product launches, but actually to create your own product and launch, it's a different story. Talk to us about the differences between launching a service-based business and a product.
Yeah. So a service-based business, I'll say it's fairly easy in comparison because with a service business, I mean, it's really simple. I even have a
laptop.
I have a whole consulting company where I'll walk you through it. Like, all right, like you need to get your EIN number. You need to get, your like papers, like set up, takes like 10 minutes. It's really simple, right? You open a bank account, you're good to go, right? Easy. But with product, all right, so you have to really back out of it. You're like, okay, so I want to start this business. Yes, I know I need to do the basics, but what else is there? So I researched and read online and kind of self-taught. And then I was like, all right, well, I have to get a bottle, right?
That's a
For
great
this
bottle.
product. Thank you. And it's half drinking.
Love the
but-
bottle.
So this actually was designed after an antique perfume bottle. I
Mm.
wanted experience to be look almost like a vodka bottle and more feminine and sleek. So there's no cork. That's a glass top, and it just
Oh,
fits right in there. So it's very easy to open. And but I also wanted it to be round because I was also learning that, as you're filling bottles, it's much more expensive if you do a custom bottle.
Yeah.
That, so you have to be able to get the label on. And then if you're going to run it through the machine for bottling, like
Mhm.
if you've got a weird shape that can't be run through and has to be done by hand, that is going to affect your cost.
Mhm.
I also learned that the people who make the bottles aren't the people that make the tops. So you have to have different vendors for tops and bottoms, and they don't all match. It's not a universal size. And then if you're like, oh, well, I can get it cheaper in China or I can get it cheaper somewhere else, but then what if they stop making it? Or what if you get it and then they change it again? So I bought all American made, and I was all by a woman-owned company for the tops and for the bottles.
Oh,
so
wow.
that it would go to, I really wanted it to be authentic all the way through. And
Where are you
Lynxx,
sourcing the bottles from?
by Quest.
By Quest. Okay.
And I'll give you the link to that. And the logo we developed because Lynxx is the most ferocious of all the jungle cats. So
How's
we
that?
wanted an feminine touch on that. And then the way we spelt it with the double, where is it? With the double X,
Double X.
to the female chromosomes. So there was a lot
Oh.
in the branding and the positioning. And, you can really blame that on the day job, right? I mean, all
Mhm.
this branding background. So we thought a lot about it. And the way it was made. And then you have to submit your label to get it approved,
Mhm.
through the government. Right. And of course, I'm doing all this and getting ready to launch. And then COVID happens. So it's like the silent launch, right? Because you can't have a big party or anything. And the labels had already been approved. And then because of COVID, actually, here's something not everybody knows. The label says that it's been aged for 2 years. But because of COVID, it actually aged for a bonus third year.
Ah.
But I didn't want to get the labels reprinted. Maybe I shouldn't say that. If anyone's listening,
I think it just has to be a minimum of 2, so you're good to go.
well, it's a bonus. And so that is a little bit about the bottle. Let me tell you about the mash bill. So in
Mhm.
order to achieve the taste profile that I was
Let's talk
looking-
about the taste profile though, because the mash bill. So you're going after a feminine. I don't know the
Yeah.
right word. Female taste profile. Talk to us about how that might be different than the general bourbons we see out there, and then that goes
Yeah.
to the mash bill.
So women have a more like sensitive taste palate than men do, and knowing that I wanted it to be softer, I needed to have a very specific mash bill to start
Okay.
with. So it's 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% barley. We have no rye.
Mm.
So there's not very many wheated mash bills out there. Can you name off, just for fun, can you name a couple that come to mind?
I cannot. That is not a strong suit of mine. I'm a
All
avid
right.
consumer, but my mash bill knowledge is limited.
All right. So Pappy Van Winkle is the most famous and oldest
Okay.
wheated mash out there.
Mhm.
And so that was like my gold standard,
Mhm.
right? So there's that. Maker's Mark is the more commonly known wheated mash bill out there, but those are really the only two that most people know. Like even the Basil Hayden, that has rye in it.
Mhm.
Blanton's has rye. All the other kind of like go-to ones that people.
And the
most
rye
com-
would give it that more kind of masculine, spicy, kind of just stronger taste.
Yep. So that was important. And then our barrel char was a number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also important. And then
What kind of barrels are you doing these in?
So bourbon has to be done in a brand new American oak white barrel. That's a rule for bourbon.
Mhm.
You can't use a barrel. So a lot of times bourbon barrels are resold to people that are making scotch or whiskey or what's the other one I'm thinking of? Rum, even like bourbon barrels get reused a lot, but they have to be brand new for bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And then most distillers don't want to do this, but I convinced them to take the proof as low as possible. So it's an 80 proof, which is the lowest you can go for bourbon, which also helps with the taste profile. So what you get with this low proof, low char, wheated mash bill is it's like notes of like creamy vanilla and caramel, even though it's not flavored. It's really an understated kind of flavor. It has like little hint of like spice and kind of like velvety taste. It's beautiful in old fashioned. So a Manhattan is also quite amazing with it. Or even just like over crushed ice by itself. You don't even need to mix it if you don't want to. So I think both women and men really enjoy it. I have some women customers who originally bought a couple bottles for themselves and then their husbands drank it all. So
that would probably happen in our house.
Yes. It's I really wanted this to be like part of a ritual for people. 'Cause, you work hard all day. Like, how do you reward yourself at the end of a hard day of work, right? Some people go to the gym. Some people sit down with a cigar and a bourbon or, and it could be you're working hard at the office or you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a teacher, like whatever working hard is to you. I wanted people to feel like it was a sign of success that they were ending their day with, a decadent, unwind with sophistication experience, right? So,
And were you a big bourbon drinker?
I had done my fair share of bourbon. Yes, I have. Yeah, I originally was introduced to bourbon, and I was fascinated with all the different types. So I've tasted a lot of them. Really, not all because there's a lot, but I've tasted quite a few. Yeah.
I'm curious because you do and this is ignorance on my part. It's a wheated bourbon, and yet it's gluten free. Are bourbons just by fact of the distillation process gluten free, or did you do something extra to make it gluten free?
I'm so glad you asked.
I was going to ask that.
Here's a fun fact. I have two fun facts for you. All right. So one is all distilled spirits are gluten free.
That's what I thought. Okay.
But they're not all marketed that way. And I felt like I wanted to like hit home with that message because people have the misperception that if it's a dark spirit, it's not gluten free. Like only vodka is gluten free. And that's not true. If it goes through the distillation process, it's gluten free.
That's what I thought. And I've had more than one person at my house that just would not even touch bourbon. I'm like, and honestly, it's my own. I never really researched it, but intuitively, I'm like, how does the gluten make it up the column and out?
Yeah, I think it's just a hot topic for sales.
But it's really it's a really important topic. And then the other point is like health. You got vodka. The perception of vodka is cleaner, lower calorie, better for you. Then you got bourbon. It's dark. It's spicy. It's got to be bad for you.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's no sugar. Just like with vodka, there's no sugar. So you are just as fine to have your vodka soda, or you could have your bourbon and soda, and it's the same health implication. The second misperception that I was just talking to somebody today. I don't know. I don't know who started this rumor, but bourbon does not have to be made in Kentucky. It's not like champagne that has to be made in Champagne, France. Bourbon is not that way. I think someone from Kentucky started that rumor and it just caught on.
I think so too, because I was also I've seen now being in the industry for such a long time. I know that, but back in the day, asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you had to be from Kentucky.
Yeah. So that is interesting. But I know that the water in that part of the country and the way that it goes through, like the different minerals you know, that are naturally occurring in that region, it is better to make your bourbon over there. So we're distilled in Statesville, North Carolina, which is, you know, right over the border from Kentucky. It's very close. We still get the good water. I wanted to work with an independently owned female run distiller. So that's why, you know, we went there.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh, here's a third fun fact. Almost all the bourbon on the market, I'd say 80% of it is all made by one company. Do you know which one?
Bardstown?
Nope.
No. Jim Beam.
Good guess. Buffalo Trace.
Well, that's right. Okay.
Oh, Buffalo Trace. That makes sense.
The other weird fact is the Buffalo Trace is impossible to get in North Carolina. It's like a hard commodity. I'm like, it's like dime a dozen out here. But I've got a friend that wants me to mail some back to him. Has to do with liquor distribution laws in there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, isn't there a
artificial
weird
scarcity?
Yeah. Isn't there a weird that in like Alabama, they have super weird control issues with the liquor content, and it's weird.
And Maryland has weird rules as well. So right now we ship to 33 states. We work with an online distributor that specializes in spirits. And
who do you use?
We work with Speakeasy.
Oh yeah, Josh is a great guy.
Yeah, they're awesome.
He started right in COVID too. I mean, he was the right place, right time, helping.
I was their first customers.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I think Utah still has the worst shipping laws out of anybody. I used to make the joke when I was in the wine industry that you can have 8 wives in Utah, but you can't have any alcohol to go with all of those wives.
That's a good joke. I like it. True. Yeah. So, all right. So I wanted to talk about that. All right. The other thing that I've learned is very important in the spirits business with this product is you want to be awarded. So like with, you know, my Sunday brunch agency, like we want to win like the, you know, best business awards, right? The most creative awards. So there's awards for the spirits category too. So I applied to the World Spirits competition and I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to apply. Like, what's the worst thing going to happen, right? So you ship out like, you know, a case or whatever, and it goes to the judges. And I didn't hear back for like a year. And then I got this email from this woman in London, and she works with the Rolls-Royce and Bentley, and they're having this like big owners event. And she was like, well, since you're such a big winner at the World Spirits competition, we would love to have you at our upcoming event for our members. I'm like, did you call the right number? Sure. Person. She was like, yeah, Rachel, Lynxx Spirits. I was like, yes. So I won, Lynxx won, but they had like a typo in my email or something, and I never got it.
They never told you that you won. Oh my gosh.
So I called them and they were like, oh, we've been trying to get a hold of you. Yeah. So we won gold, which is the highest that you can get, which I'm so grateful for the third party validation. That meant a lot to me. You know, being a new spirit was a big deal. And then we also submitted to Cigar and Spirits magazine, and we got a 95 ranking out of 100 for them, which was also phenomenal. So the feedback from, you know, beyond the friends and family, right? Like people who have to tell me they like it, you know, have been doing really well. So
that's fantastic. Where is this World Spirits competition?
San Francisco.
Oh, it's in. Okay, it's in. So you mail it out, and you just. What year was that? Was that right when you first launched?
No, this was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I just found out about the results this year. So like a couple of months ago.
That's funny.
Don't you have to fill out like a form that has your phone number and all of that on it? Because I used to send that out for wine, and I used to have to fill out all my info, email, phone number.
I don't know how it happened, but anyways, then they sent me my plaque and they sent me, you know, all the certificates and all the things.
Cool.
But the way I found out about it was also like the silent win.
Congrats.
You know, silent launch, silent win, but we're just trugging right along.
That's awesome.
So you're now 4 years into this enterprise.
Yeah.
We're in 2023. And so over the last 4 years, I mean, went through COVID, made it out of COVID. Now we're in some weird post-COVID time. We're still talking about COVID, even though no one's talking about COVID. Talk to me about the growth over the last 4 years. Like, how has the brand evolved, and talk to me about the brand evolution.
Yeah. So the biggest evolution that's happened has been of the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got into this, I feel like in pre-COVID days, I was in a very different place in terms of socially and events and networking and being at all the shows and all the things. And then through COVID and post COVID, I'm in a very different personal space.
Mm.
I am much more selective with where I want to be and spend my
Mm-hmm.
time. I focus a lot more on health and wellness. I focus a lot more on my kids. Like before, I'd say 4 years ago, like I had somebody else picking them up from school. I had somebody else taking them to sports. Like I was working and that was my priority. Then now I'm room mom, I'm soccer mom, I'm baseball. Like I don't miss a practice or a game. Like I'm always there. So my lifestyle has greatly changed. I've much closer and I'm a better mom, I think, for it. Now I'm much more present. But that also means that if you're in the liquor business, it's important that you're at these events and you're networking, talking to people in other industries like that are complementary, right? Like cigar, right? Or like other liquor owners and going to the World Spirits competition versus just being like, oh, I can't go that weekend. I'm so glad I won. That my son's got a tournament, so I won't be there. So what I'm actually announcing today with you guys, that very few people know, is that I actually I'm going to start looking over the next 3 to 6 months for somebody to purchase the whole Lynxx Spirits business.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I can imagine it would be a crown jewel in somebody's portfolio.
It is. It really is. And I mean, all the branding, all the marketing, all of that is set, locked and loaded. All the distribution is set. All the licenses are set. All the product is set. The only thing that I can imagine somebody might want is they're going to want to put their stamp on it, right? Maybe they want to put they're going to want to customize it, put their twist on it. Maybe they want to rebottle it. I don't know.
They're going to want to mess it up.
You know what? That's fine. I want people to believe in it and feel like connected. So I'm actually even offering to throw in like 6 to 12 months of marketing support to help with the transition.
Because that's your ace in the hole. You've got that full service marketing agency, Sunday Brunch Agency, which also specializes in helping spirit brands evolve and brand themselves.
So are you only going to sell to a female?
I'm open to either. In my mind, I kind of think that a woman is going to be who wants to buy it. But it might,
Well, sell it to skinny girl.
They
need a bourbon in their portfolio.
It's all possible. I'm not ruling anything out, and I'm not giving anything away either.
No, you built up a great brand. Let's talk about the brand for a second, though, because you came at this for such a unique. Like a lot of people just start the bourbon because they like bourbon and they don't know anything about marketing. You came with such a rich knowledge base. Like, talk to us about that. Like, it's got to be a double-edged sword because you know so much. Sometimes you don't make those happy mistakes that people might make with ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, we didn't step in any of those landmines in the marketing space. I'll tell you that. Everything from having a very robust and consistent social media presence to getting the website up. We also made like a custom book, and it's a menu book, and it has recipes from famous women throughout the years. Like we've got like Audrey Hepburn's Manhattan, and we've got Ruth Bader Ginsburg drink. And so, I mean, we were really able to have some fun with it and, look at women through history and what they've been drinking. And so I enjoyed that part of it a lot. We also, because of the marketing and the branding, it was easy for us to identify, like, who's our target market, like all the basics, right? We also put together like an annual program calendar of like different sales incentives, our marketing calendar, when our PR was going out, press releases, all of that was all wrapped up easy. That was like, that happened probably while we were waiting for the product to age. We were like, oh, might as well get a jump start on everything. So we did.
For sure.
Yeah.
Tell me about speaking of marketing side of things, tell me about the Owners Club.
So I wanted to create something for the enthusiasts, who wanted to have a closer relationship with the brand. And I feel like that's important as brands grow, that they have a strong base of customers. So, we just try to communicate with them. Like last year for Christmas, we came out with a diamond stemware collection. It had a diamond decanter, a diamond wine glass, diamond tasting glasses, diamond shot glasses. And so we reached out to them first before everybody else. Hey, we're offering this. The year before, we did a custom wood charred barrel that had the bottle in it for the holidays. And so we reached out to them first. Hey, this is what we have for gifting or anything. And, just little nuggets like that and make people know that they're special and important.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, and we do discounts sometimes. So that goes to the Owners Club too.
Sure.
I like bringing the sort of that coming from the wine side of the industry, sort of that wine club mentality of just nurturing your existing customer base.
Yeah. But, loyalty is important in all the brands that we build. And, people want to have that personal relationship with me. They want to connect with me. They want to know what's going on from me. So I'm happy to do that, and more frequently with our, our core group.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the bourbon category. Just where you see it evolving over the next 5 to 10 years. It's exploding with the amount of micro distilleries. Not so much bourbon, but the whiskey category itself.
I agree with you. There has been an explosion of brands. Absolutely. But there's 3 other things that I think are happening simultaneously. They're important. One is the cost of the raw ingredients, like the corn, the wheat, the barley, everything that goes into it, the ingredients. The prices of those materials have skyrocketed. So you're going to probably see a little bit of a tail off of new brands starting because it's more expensive to start than it was. The second thing that I'm noticing is, I'm sure you've seen it too, all the seltzers that are out there. So many seltzers. People are like, are you going to do a Lynxx seltzer? I personally am not. Maybe after it sells, and maybe the next owner might want to do an expression that way. I think that would be really neat. The other expression that I thought would be fun to do is, this again hasn't been done, except for maybe once. I would want to do a Lynxx clear bourbon. As long as you flash it through the barrel, it doesn't stay. It gets the color by staying in the barrel. But if you flash it in and out, which is all it takes to be considered a barrel, is it has to go in and then it can come back out immediately. It can be clear. It can look like vodka. So I think it'd be really fun to do a Lynxx bourbon that's clear.
What would the taste profile on something like that be?
It would be a little harsher because it's not resting in the barrel for as long. But because you don't have the barley and you're proofing it down, it's not going to be vastly different. Shocking, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't have that vanilla quality. There's a couple of the local distillers around here. When they need to get their product to market, they'll do the white old fashioned. Like the Coast Distillery down here in Oceanside, they've got their old fashioned that's unaged.
Yes,
it's got a really nice taste to it. I actually prefer it sometimes, especially in the mixed drink category.
I think that would be beautiful. So I've got ideas for whoever decides that they want to take this on next. Like, I'm happy to, like I said, support with the marketing that's needed to go into that. So that could be cool. And then the third thing that I also would be fascinated if I was going to pursue staying in the spirits category is I would want to do a non-alcoholic version. because I think the next generation that's growing up right now is more interested in the mocktails than any other generation before them. So I think that Lynxx could do a non-alcoholic brand extension, and maybe it's enhanced with like B12 or like other like vitamins in it,
like a
because
health super. I like that because I've had the Lynxx Spirits. They have those. They have their bourbon, or they have their whiskey and their gin, and I really don't know how they make it. And something about it. How would you do a non-alcoholic bourbon?
Well, I talked to a couple. Like I very, very briefly started having that conversation. I didn't go too deep into it, but it wouldn't technically be a bourbon. It would be an extension of the Lynxx family of brands.
Mm-hmm. Like something that has like a bourbon-esque quality to it, but because you don't really just de-alcoholize that, you're going to take everything out of it. You have to like actually just create something that tastes like it. I think
it would have to be created totally separate. It wouldn't be made at the distillery. It would be made somewhere else. There are companies that specialize in this. I can introduce people to these if you want.
For sure.
But
there was when I was at Bottle
in the
Rock.
ready to drink category, that like a mock old fashioned. It seems very doable.
When I was at Bottle Rock Music Festival Memorial Weekend, they had a whole non-alcoholic drink station, and it was all of them. They had, I mean, and because I'm pregnant, so I'm not drinking, and so I had the best Aperol spritz that you would have never known didn't have booze in it, never in a million years.
Yeah,
and it was they had all of they had bourbon, they had gin, they had vodka, they even had tequila.
Yeah. See, so there's a lot changing in the spirits category. Like this.
So far I had they used a sparkling that was, kind of what made it the Aperol spritz. Now the wine category, so far I haven't found a wine that's non-alcoholic that I like. They all seem pretty sugary still to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but these liquors, I mean, I'm telling you, the Aperol spritz was incredible.
Yeah. I believe you. I think that would be great. I'd like to see more brands continue to explore that space and do it without the sugar and, infuse. Like I have Nespresso at my house and like the little pods, and they recently came out with coffee that's infused with B12.
Like infusing it with nutrition is that ties into the one thing that I think a lot of these legacy spirit and wine brands are missing out on, is the fact that the new seltzer and all they're hyping the nutrition aspect of it and the healthfulness of it.
Well, like they're like being gluten free.
Yes.
Right. Like they're gotta just bring it up. But that I think is more authentic with where I'm personally evolving in the health and wellness space. So, I mean, I technically probably could take Lynxx and run that direction with it. But I don't know. I'm open to entertaining the sale of this and then starting something new, because I'm an entrepreneur. I like starting new businesses all the time and then selling businesses, and it's sport, right? It's fun.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk if you mind, let's talk a little bit about your agency, Sunday Brunch, and how you might help other spirit brands. Like we do the same thing, but you have your unique angle, and you come from whereas I came from the wine industry and grew up, you came from like the big leagues and now run a boutique agency.
I did, and I loved it. I spent most of my career at Saatchi & Saatchi doing work for Toyota, and we also did a lot of work getting Toyota. This was like back in the days when we launched the Prius and it was brand new. We launched the Tundra. We launched Toyota into NASCAR, right?
Were you responsible for getting all those stars to show up in the Academy Awards in the Prius that one year?
Oh my God. We had a lot of fun with that, and so many other things too. I really loved it. But, Toyota aside, I've also done work with Los Angeles World Airports, Metropolitan Water District, Fredericks of Hollywood, Cedars-Sinai Hospital. Oh God, what else? I'm blanking. Anyways, so many other brands and businesses in LA. And then, we had Z Pizza, Nectar Juice Bar. I mean, the list can go on. And then originally from Orange County. And I decided to start my own agency in 2016. And at the time, I remember having a very important conversation with the team. I said, do you guys want an office? And I always had a kind of a problem with the way agencies believed in this like butts in seats rule, be in the office. And I never liked that. It just didn't work for me. And so I asked that question, very important. And the team said, we do not want an office. And I said, great. I don't want an office either. So back in 2016, we were a virtual agency before it was trendy to be a virtual agency. And no one even knew what to call it. They were like, so you're freelancers? And we're like, no, we're not freelancers. We're a company. And we would work out of private business clubs. We would work out. Sometimes our clients would have an office for us in their office, which made us more an integral part of their team, which was wonderful. And then when COVID hit, the events slowed down and changed, but otherwise it was business as usual for us. So, and we do everything from strategy and branding, website development, social media, public relations, press release writing, video production, photography. I feel like because we work with independently owned people and businesses, the needs of their businesses change all the time. So we're structured to come in, and it could be you're starting a new business, or maybe it's a legacy family business and you're taking it over and you're modernizing, or, it doesn't matter where you're at in your business journey. We can come in and help, kind of like a special forces team of whatever that is. And then we can stay with you forever as an extension of your team. Or we can say, okay, you've graduated, you go, here if you need us, but we've trained our replacement to work on your staff. We've got you up to, you're good, you're golden. So, that's opened us up to work with a lot of different businesses, from the OC Marathon to the Hyatt, to the Irvine Company, to, the people in the spirits business, the wine business, the cannabis business, fashion, spas. So many different businesses. And I love that, because the people that work for Sunday Brunch have all these personal interests. And I really try to match their personal interest with their professional excellence. So if they like doing Pilates and we have a Pilates studio client, then they're going to work on that. And same thing if they're a foodie, then they're going to work, Red O was a client. And so we had foodies working on that. So they were like, oh, I love this. Feels like a hobby I get paid for. Right. So that's how I try to match people up. And it seems to create a really good culture, very supportive, yes, culture. And, everybody is on a different journey in their life. I've got a girl 6 months ago, put her stuff in storage and decided to be a digital nomad. And she's traveling all over, and she's been a part of our team for years, and we love her and she loves us. And she knows that it was with our blessing that she could take this big journey of once in a lifetime thing for her. And so, just whatever success looks like for each person, we want to support that. So I love Sunday Brunch it's my baby. It's,
How did the name come about?
Oh, thank you. I knew that I didn't want to name it my name, because Svoboda is tough. And I feel like when people think about marketing, if you're not a marketing person, a lot of times I had clients that were like, ugh, I got to do marketing now. It's like trying to tell someone they have to go do math homework or something. They just, they don't want to do it. So I noticed that whenever I say, hey, let's go to brunch, everyone's like, oh, what a great idea. And I feel like in marketing, you always need great ideas. And so I wanted something that people had a positive correlation with. And then it played off the good ideas, which we always need. So sometimes, just to be kitschy, we will bring them to meetings. So, that's fun too.
I love the name.
But
I also love brunch on Sundays. So
here for our Christmas gifts, we are going to do a Sunday brunch mimosa set. That'll be it. We're going to be ready.
Do it. There's this great place in the city, and it's called the Pink Elephant. And they do the best Sunday brunch. They do unlimited mimosas, but they have about 40 different handmade juices you can choose from.
Whoa.
Oh,
And they're all in those like tube, you know,
yeah.
drinks things. So you like go in, you pay like, I don't know, like $25. You
Mhm.
get the table for like 3 hours, good brunch, and then unlimited mimosas with all, I mean, they have every like jalapeno juice where I'm like, no, you know, but like some people love that. And it's like all the crazy juices. So that's what you should do.
Okay, I like it. That's great. You notice June, and I'm thinking about Christmas presents because by August, I gotta
You
have
got
that.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Planning ahead.
Gotta
Yeah.
start ordering. So
And like hey, gonna be available for purchase for some lucky winner that's always wanted to get into the spirits category,
yes.
and they can just literally turnkey walk into it. I mean, this opportunity does not come up very often. So I'm excited to be throwing it out to your audience.
Yeah.
Let me know if you want to talk about it.
We'll have to get the word out. So Rachel, as we're wrapping down, where can people find out more about you and Lynxx and Sunday Brunch Agency?
All right. So SundayBrunchAgency.com is the website for that one. And then LynxXSpirits.com. And I have Instagram and, all the things, right? I even have RachelSvoboda.com that literally just has links to like website link to all my
Mhm.
business so
Oh,
that
yeah.
people there. I'll put this on the screen. I don't know if it works, but it's a QR code for Lynxx. If anyone
Oh,
wants
perfect.
to. No.
I'm sure it'll work.
All right. Well, there's that. Here's one of our marketing pieces. Beautiful photography.
Very well done. Helps to
Yeah.
have an agency behind you.
No. I mean, you've got the same thing going on there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. Very entrepreneurial.
Yes. Well, Rachel, is there anything else we haven't talked about that you'd like to bring up?
You
Any
guys,
shout-outs or-
you hit all the high points. Right now, if you go to the Lynxx website to buy it, you have to request. I'm going through some updates on the shopping part. So it's set up where you can send me a message right now, and then we can set that all up for
Figure out-
delivery. So, but don't be shy. Like, don't be discouraged or anything.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
This was wonderful. Thank you for having me. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Legends Behind the Craft podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.